Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and we are in February, and since February includes Valentine's Day, whether you celebrate it or not, there is still the whole issue of dealing with romance everywhere, so I thought why not talk about a genre that I don't particularly like to read but does occasionally pop up every now and again. What is the best way to write a romance? These down to 5 points. Like I said, I don't read a lot of romance. I don't write a lot of romance. I will include romantic elements in certain stories if the characters link. And you know, I don't mind if two characters happen to fall in love during a story. I've been surprised in the past. But that doesn't mean to say that a lot of times romances are not written well, and I do have another video planned where I'm going to go through the 5 worst things you can do when writing a romance. Here I'm going to try and put a more positive note on the whole genre. 5 ways that make a romance better to read from a personal standpoint. Number 1 on the list is personality development. Make sure that all characters involved in this are well developed, are individuals, they can stand on their own 2 feet. Make sure that you've introduced them as them first before you even think about introducing a romantic element to them. Do they have goals? Do they have aims? Do they have strong personalities? Do they have smaller personalities that they're too afraid to let out? Do they have flaws? Do they have strengths? Weaknesses, you know, just things that make up a human. Are these characters well developed enough to stand on their own 2 feet before they can be introduced and start falling in love with each other? It sounds like such a basic thing, but so many people just automatically assume that being in love is a personality trait. But it's not. It is a situation. Being in love is a situation that you can find yourself in. It does not define you as a person, and a lot of people forget about that when they're writing romance. You need to develop your characters as characters and people and develop their personalities in order to see if their personalities can even match with each other. The same goes for if your characters are already in a relationship when the story first starts. If they have been in a relationship for a few years, or if they're still in the getting to know each other honeymoon phase, they need to have a strong personality and they need to be able to bounce off of each other, as well as being able to cope individually, because then that shows that they are strong enough to carry the story and sometimes each other without having to just solely rely on the fact of we're in love. That's all you need to know. You need to care about characters and have your audience care about the characters before you can expect anybody to give a damn about their relationship status. Number 2 is the slow burn. And I know it can be very frustrating to read when you just know that 2 characters are going to end up together and you're just like, oh, for God's sake, just get together already. But a slow burn links back to the personality development, where they're given the chance to grow, they're given the chance to develop, they're given the chance to just be themselves and then learn to be themselves around other people so that this romance can blossom. The whole love at first sight or insta-love thing is just so boring and cliche and really frustrating, because that just doesn't happen in real life. I mean, you can look at someone and instantly find them attractive, but you're not instantly going to fall in love with someone because you don't know them. And if you do know them, then it's not love at first sight. Have other things in there, like you can do the friends to lovers, you can do the enemies to friends to lovers. You can have characters have a mutual understanding of each other and have a connection there, but not understand what it is, and let them slowly discover it on their own. Having a slow burn means that you're giving the characters and the story more chance to develop and get stronger, so that when the initial payoff happens, it just feels so much more worth it. Number 3 has 3 things all in one, because it's all an umbrella term. There are 3 main ingredients for any relationship, and that is trust, respect, and communication. What is one of the best damn things in a relationship? When you respect each other, when you can trust each other, and when you don't feel like you need to hide yourself away to please someone that is supposed to be there for you. You can just be honest with them, you can talk to them, you can communicate in order to fix issues that either of you may have. There are so many stories out there where one part of the relationship will inject themselves into the other's life. They will stalk them, they will follow them, they will become this very intimidating figure, but because they're pretty, or because they're hot, or because they're rich, it's like, oh, it's so romantic, they just want to spend so much time with me. No, lovely, that person is stalking you, that is threatening behaviour, and I don't understand why that is such a major trope. All couples argue and all couples fight. That's not even a couple thing, that's just a human thing. Friends will argue, family will argue, there will be disagreements, but if there is communication and a level of respect, then you can overcome it, and that should travel through in your writing. Having someone stalk somebody is not respecting them, that is not trusting them, that is not even opening up a door of communication, that is threatening behaviour. Can be seen as a form of abuse, but that's a different topic for a different day. Also in this umbrella form is being able to rely on one another. If you trust someone, then you are allowing them not only into your life, but allowing them to take part in your dreams, your goals, your aspirations. You are letting yourself relax and lean on someone, and in return letting someone lean on you, so there is a mutual understanding, a mutual level in this relationship. And when two characters have that level of trust and respect for each other, it just makes the whole romance in general feel so much stronger. And like I said, it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship for that to be a thing. That can be a friendship thing, that can be a family thing. Even, you know, any two people, if they have that going for them, then it just makes their relationship in general, no matter what it is, feel so much more strong and believable, and you want to back that up. Consent in all of its forms also goes under this umbrella. Consent. Consent. Number 4, we have talked about this with realistic friendships and realistic families, and that is flaws and differing opinions. No two people are the same, no two people are going to agree on something 100% of the time. If you are writing a romance and these two characters happen to have every single thing under the sun in common, and they both agree on everything 100% of the time, then that kind of makes it boring. These are basically clones of one another. They are not individual people falling in love. Everyone has flaws with their personality, with the way they act, with the way they see things. Everyone has a flaw, and romance does not fix that. If you are a very stubborn individual that finds it hard to trust, falling in love is not going to fix that. If anything, that's going to terrify them into being a little bit more standoffish until they understand that this is maybe a good thing that's happening to them and is allowing the world to get a little bit closer, so that they can understand, I don't have to be so guarded. They can still be guarded, but not as much. If there's a developmental thing, we're going back to personality development. Give couples disagreements, give them something to debate, give them something to argue over. It shows that each of them has their own mind and their own way of viewing the world, and sometimes that will cause a conflict and that will cause a rift. But then, thinking back to communication and trust and respect, they can overcome that and they can learn to see things from each other's point of view. You don't have to change the person completely in order to force these two people to be together. That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is couples don't agree on everything. That's just the way it is. And sometimes having disagreements and arguments can lead to some very funny, heartfelt, heartbreaking situations. It will make the relationship feel more dynamic because you know that they have the ability to push each other's buttons and to not fully understand one another, but they can try. They can try and bring it back and work through it as a real couple should. Even like playful banter where they just wind each other up because they know how to push each other's buttons because they've been together so long, but it's done in a playful and respectful way. That can be fun. That can just show that two characters are comfortable around each other, that they have this connection. Just because they're soulmates doesn't mean that they are the one same soul, if that makes any sense. And number 5, have your common ground. Again, this has been touched upon in realistic families and realistic friendships. Common ground. What drew these two people together to start with? If they were friends first and they're going from friends to lovers, then what was the initial thing that made them be friends in the first place? What did they connect over first? If they're enemies to friends to lovers, then what was that one thing that drew them together to be enemies in the first place? What was that misunderstanding? And what is that new common ground that is starting to shift perspective? You can really go anywhere with this. How does it link to the differences? How does it make them want to learn more about each other? How far can you push this? In a similar way, what is going to be there with this person that makes them want to rely on them? What is the one thing that they're like, yep, they can wind me up, they can push all my buttons, and there's this one thing they do that really drives me up the wall, that I know that we can always come back to it because of this thing. What is that thing? These 5 points seem so basic and they don't seem like revolutionary things, but you would be so surprised of how little they actually show up in romances during stories and films and TV shows and all that jazz. There's just so much insta-love or love triangles, or oh, that person's really hot so I want to be around them. Oh, this person is the only person to ever give me attention, therefore I owe them my life. Oh, this person stalked me in a very creepy way. Oh, that's so romantic. There is so much of that these 5 points just get completely brushed aside, and it's frustrating, it's infuriating, and sometimes sickening. I'm not big on the genre of romance because that is pretty much the vast majority of what I see. But when I do come across something with those 5 points of personality development, of slow burns, of respecting, trusting, communicating with each other, the flaws and differences in the common grounds, when all of that is put together, it just builds strong characters which can lead to strong relationships, and that's what I'm after. I've tried writing a couple of romantic subplots in my stories at the moment, and I'm trying to incorporate these as much as I can, and the fact that I've been writing for so long and I know these characters has kind of made things a little bit easier, but I'm really relying on these 5 points as well. I'm not saying I'm great at it, because like I said, I'm not overly familiar with the genre, but at the same time I'm trying. And as long as there's effort, then that's what I'm just asking for, effort really. Yeah, those are the 5 big things I always look for in romance, and they're so basic. Why do they get forgotten about all the damn time? I hope this helped you guys in some way. If you're a romance writer and you have some advice for me, then please let me know. If these helped you in some way, then good, I'm glad. I'm looking forward to the next video where I just get to rant about all the bad things in romance that I see. Because we could love a good rant on this channel, don't we? But until then, I'm going to stop myself before I go rambling again, so I hope you're doing well, I hope you're staying safe, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye, my scribblers.